While I'm not as enthusiastic about many of the changes ReFantazio makes to the Persona formula, the Archetype system is a straight upgrade of the Personas and Demons system from other Atlus titles. It does this through expanded freedom, while also clearly communicating the system in the way Persona and Shin Megami Tensei have never been able to manage, making it a superior gameplay system in almost every way. See, with the fusion mechanic of previous games, you have no way of planning out your upgrade path. You can't have a build for your protagonist because you have no way of predicting how they're going to grow over the course of the game. While the fusion chart must have been an exhausting amount of work to map out and plan, there are significant downsides to its expansiveness, namely the lack of foresight. When you fuse two demons, you can only preview the next stage of the fusion. You have no way of mapping out what comes next. Of course, there's no solution to this problem, as the game can't possibly account for the infinite combinations you could make, and they can't communicate it through a chart because having the entire fusion table in a menu would be the file size of 2 dungeons. As far as I can tell, there's no discernible rhyme or reason to what fusions make what. For example, if you combine 2 personas that excel in landing status conditions, there's no guarantee what you fuse them into will maintain that high accuracy stat. This removes any ability to have a character build, because if you can't preview your upgrade tree, then you have no way of planning, meaning the strategy usually results in combining your strongest personas to make an even stronger one, which sort of takes away from the role-playing element, as it's more akin to an upgrade tree or stat booster. Meta 4 completely reworks this system from the ground up. By shrinking down the number of available archetypes, the game is able to communicate the entire upgrade tree on one screen, meaning it's much easier to optimize your team. Speaking of your team, ReFantazio makes the genius decision to make every character able to wield every archetype, creating essentially a job system instead of a predetermined growth plan for your teammates, making this game have the most freedom Atlus has ever given to the player. From a gameplay perspective, this is spectacular. I've never felt more powerful in these games than I did in ReFantazio, which is something you'll need because the final boss is some Shin Megami Tensei 5 super boss levels of ridiculous. But this creates an interesting conflict with the game's story. With unlimited freedom for all characters, it means no one particularly stands out, as you can optimize anyone to fill any role. Whilst this is nothing new, there's a key difference between Meta 4 and games like Final Fantasy V and Infinite Wealth: the number of party members. In the aforementioned games, you have a fixed party for almost the entire runtime, meaning you're forced to use all these characters and build a connection with them. In ReFantazio, I stuck with my first 4 party members for the entire game because I could just take my newer party members' abilities and put them on my higher leveled members. Why this is a particular issue is because Meta 4 is a game where connecting with your characters is essential. The social link system means you need to emotionally engage with all the characters, but if I've got half my party sitting in a menu for the whole game, then the immersion of connecting with those characters is shattered. The wisdom of Persona games only letting the protagonist change their persona is that the game forces you to switch out party members in and out of the battle when the situation calls for it. This ensures that everyone gets a chance to shine in battle and that you connect with every character. If I can optimize my party to fill any role I want, why would I use the lower level members, because the level would be the only thing separating each of them, which led me to feel terrible for these characters who were just along for the ride but I had no use for. I love that this system encourages experimentation and freedom of expression, but it comes at a cost, and I think that's why when a JRPG has a job system as extensive as the archetypes, it makes sure to limit the amount of party members, as the player has no need for more than the max party size. But make no mistake, if this were any other series, I'd say switch to this formula forever, as it's vastly superior to the Persona system, requiring much more player involvement and thought, rather than mindlessly mixing your strongest personas. The archetypes create a far more in-depth and rewarding gameplay system. By having a clear path laid out for each character, you're actually able to finish upgrading your character, something you could never do in Persona. But that feeling of perfecting your build is simply an endorphin rush of excellence, as you know you're the strongest you can be, and you're ready to take on the rest of the game. It also perfectly incorporates the social links into the system. By locking upgrades behind certain ranks, rather than just giving passive effects like Persona and allowing for one ultimate fusion once you complete the upgrade tree. Metaphor ReFantazio is easily one of Atlus's best games from a pure gameplay perspective, though if you play these games for the combat, I'd suggest just sticking to SMT, as holy hell does this game love to talk. But the Archetype system represents a massive growth in Atlus's gameplay design, leading to their most engaging and rewarding gameplay system yet. I'll be back in 2 days. In the meantime, here's a video about the political commentary of Metaphor ReFantazio.